Hi, welcome to the homework solution for page 177, numbers 14, and page 178, 16, 24, 27, and 39. Let's start us off here with number 14. Number 14 asks us to find the rate of change representing in each table or graph. From today's lesson, you should realize that the rate of change is another way that we um, describe the slope, and we write that in the format of a ratio. Okay, so the rate of change is the slope, so I'm going to end up using my slope formula. M equals to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 subtract x1. So we need a couple of things here. We need an x2 and x1, y2 and x1. That means it's going to require 2 points. Okay, your 2 points are your x1 and y1. Your second point is x2, y2. Okay, those are what you need to get the slope. It's always 2 points. Okay, the first point I'm going to use here is my first row in my chart. 5 for x, 2 for y. 5 for my x, 2 for my y. x1, y1. And for my second point, I'm just going to use my second line, which is 10 comma 3. My second point is 10 comma 3. And that's going to be 10 for x2, 3 for y2. Right? After I write it out like this, my labeling step, my life is so much easier when I have it into my formula. I write the equation, make that substitution. All I have to be careful is my subtraction. 3 subtract 2, and the bottom is 10 subtract 5. Here is pretty straightforward because 3 subtract 2 is 1, and 10 subtract 5 is 5. So the slope here is going to be 1 over 5. Remember, I used the m here for slope. And the slope, aka the rate of change, is 1 over 5. Okay, that's good. Let's do the next one. Okay, whoop. That's, where's the picture? Hold on, sorry. There it is. Sorry about that. Number 16, it asks us to find the rate of change like the previous problem, but this time it actually gives us the graph. Okay, but again, we follow the same way. I need 2 points. My first point is going to be negative 3, 7, which is right here. Okay, I need 2 points. This is my first one, negative 3, 7. Remember, you get the points when you read it left to right. The left is negative, the left one, the farmost left one is your first point, which is negative 3 comma 7. Your second point is 3 comma negative 1 right here. Right? So I labeled my first point negative 3 comma 7 as x1, y1. So negative 3 is x1, 7 is my y1. The second point is 3 comma negative 1, x2, and x and y2. So here are my 2 points. Right? Once I have this, I write my equation as always the first step. Make that substitution. Negative 1 subtract 7 divided by 3 subtract negative 3. Be very careful here, okay? 1 subtract 7 is negative 1 subtract 7, right? Negative 1 subtract 7. But 3 subtract a negative 3 is 3 plus 3. Okay, be very careful there. Next, reduce negative 7 subtract 7. Negative 1 subtract 7 is negative 8. Um, M equals to negative 4 over 3. So you simplify. The slope or the rate of change is negative 4, 3. Right? There you go for number 16. Let's go to number 24 now. Number 4 asks us to find the slope of a line that passes through each pair of points. The beautiful part here is they already tell us what the first point is and what the second point is. The first point is this 4 comma 3. The second point is negative 1 comma 6. Again, write my slope formula. Realize I need my first point, which is going to be 4 comma 3 as x1, y1. So 4 is going to be x1, 3 is my y1. Then we need the second point. Okay, negative 1 for x2 and 6 for y2. Write the equation, make the substitution. Just be careful where you're when you're simplifying, 6 minus 3 is just 6 minus 3. The second one is negative 1 minus 4, okay? On the top, 6 minus 3 should be equal to 3. Negative 1 subtract 4 is a bigger negative, so it should be negative 5, alright? 3 divided by negative 5, okay? That means the slope here is negative. Alright, do you see how easy it is after I label my points? Right, that's why it's very important for you to label your points, okay? And remember, it takes 2 points, right? 2 points to calculate the slope, okay? Not 3, not 1, 2. Find the slope of line that passes through each pair of points for number 27. Same procedure, write the slope formula. Isolate the first point. Here, 6 comma 10, first one, is equal to x1, y1. Right, 6 is equal to x1, negative 10 equals to y1. Second point, 6 comma 14, 6 is x2, 14 is y2. M equals to y2, subtract y1, divided by x2 minus x1. First step is to always rewrite the equation. Make that substitution. This subtract this negative. Remember that just becomes an addition. 14 plus 6 divided by 6 subtract 6, that becomes 24 divided by 0. Once we if we can't ever divide by 0, so that becomes undefined slope, and this is your vertical line. Alright, and next one, this is a little bit more challenging. Find the value of r so that the line passes through each pair of points has a given slope. Here they give you your points, but this is a variable, but they give you your slope. So again, you follow the same format. Again, does not change, okay? Here's your formula, here's your slope, here's your first point, okay? Like before. The difference is that I never gave you a slope before, but it does not change the problem. Write your first point, label your first point. Negative 2 equals to x1, 8 equals to y1, right? Same thing, nothing has changed, right? That's still the first point. The second point, same thing, right? Even though this is a variable, I still write it. Variable r is equal to x2, 4 was equal to y2, right? Like here, same thing. My first line, I always write the equation. Second line, make the substitution, right? But here, you actually know what the slope is, right? The slope is actually negative 1 over 2. So you plug in negative 1 over 2 for the slope. R goes in here for x2 because that's where the substitution is, right? That's a fair statement, okay? Nothing weird about it, okay? The only thing that might scare you is like, what to do with this variable, okay? Follow the same steps, right? Substitute the values in, right? Do a little simplification. Negative 1 over 2 is on my left-hand side. On my right-hand side, I have a 4 minus 8 divided by r plus 2. I do some commutative property here to just flip it. I just want the variable on top. Oh, I simplify first. 4 subtract 8 is negative 4. I do a commutative property by flipping it. So, do you see this was on bottom? 2 and r plus 2 here. I basically flipped it. Okay? Doesn't change the mathematics, right? Because AB CD, right, is this, okay, is the same thing as BA DC. Okay, commutative property. Okay, this is because of the I don't need to spell it for you. Because of the commutative property. Okay. Right. Then this is R again. I'm trying to get R alone. This is a divide by negative 4, so I do the inverse, which is multiply by negative 4. Do you see that? R plus 2 divided by negative 4. To get rid of the negative 4, you do the inverse. The inverse of divide by negative 4 is multiply by negative 4. I do that to both sides. Here's a little simplification. What's left on the left hand side is an 8 over 1. What's left on my right hand side is just an r plus 1. We don't ever write that divide by 1, okay? So that is why it becomes this. 8 was what my red was, and I think this was blue. Yeah, and this was just what was on the right hand side, okay? 8 equals to r plus 2. Now subtract 2 to both sides because I'm trying to get r alone, and I get the value of r is equal to 6. That means that if I plugged in r equals to 6, Let's do it right here. Okay, I should get the value of negative 1/2. Let's see if that works. Okay, right. 4 subtract 8 is negative 4. 2 minus negative 2 is an 8, right? And that is correct because the greatest common factor, or the number I can pull out from 4 and 8, is 4, which becomes 1 and 2, and the negative is still there. Alright? That is how you can just check your work if you would like to. Okay? And it matches up. Good? Alright? So there you go. That is the homework solutions.